Hey guys, hey guys, Sean here. I'm continuing my series of reviews up to Captain America: Civil War, and yeah, I know Civil War is not like a month away, but I'm cranking these videos out fast, and that's mostly because I want to make sure I have them done by Civil War, and then I'm not, scrambling at the last minute to get these done. So that's why I'm doing these that's why I'm cranking these out almost every day, because I want to make sure I have this all done by Civil War. Instead of, like I said, rushing at the last minute. So, welcome to my two-part Spider-Man series review. And in case you're wondering why I'm doing this in two parts instead of like all 5 movies in one video, it's because the first part will be based on the original Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and the second part will be the shitty Spider-Man series. I'm not saying Amazing Spider-Man, because they're shit. Not amazing. But I'll get to them when I get to them. So, for this part, will be the Spider-Man trilogy. And first up, will be the one that started it all. The 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. So, this movie was released back in 2002 under the direction of Evil Dead veteran Sam Raimi, based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. Stars Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, a high school student living in New York, returns to crime fighting after developing spider-like superpowers. Spider-Man also stars Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, and James Franco as Harry Osborn. This film was in development hell for nearly 25 years, where it was licensed for a worldwide release by Sony Entertainment in 1999 after it required options from MGM and all previous scripts developed by Canon Films, Caraco, and New Canon, exercising its option for just 2 elements from this multi-script acquisition: a screenplay credited by James Cameron, Ted Nomsen, and a bunch of other people who I'm not going to name. Basically, David Koepp was hired for the screenplay based on Cameron's script, and then they brought in Scott Rosenberg to rewrite parts of the script, and a polish was done by Alvin Sargent. However, for some dumb reason, without comparing notes or looking at anything of the script, the Writers Guild of America gave David Koepp sole writing credit of this script. I don't know why though, but yeah. And Koepp really didn't do that much of the script. The rest of it was done by other people, and yet he got sole writing credit. Makes no sense, but okay. But yeah, they cast the roles, and the first Spider-Man movie came to pass. And so, what are my thoughts on this movie? First of all, this movie was $100 million made. The budget was $140 million, made over $21.7 million worldwide. Wow. Released on May 3rd, 2002 in the U.S. It was made by Marvel Enterprises and distributed by Columbia Pictures. The music was done by Danny Elfman, who did the first 2 Batman movies. Really awesome. And so, like I said, the movie stars Tobey Maguire, who in my opinion is the definitive Spider-Man. I don't care all the Andrew Garfield's likers say, but I will get to that when I get to the Amazing series. And then you got Willem Dafoe, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, Cliff Robertson, Rosemary Harris, and you got J.K. Simmons, Elizabeth Banks, a bunch of people in this movie. So, now after that all set up and whatnot, my thoughts on this movie: I actually love this movie. I actually love this film. To me, this wasn't just my first Spider-Man movie. This was also the movie that got me into the comic book genre. Because you know how people say that it was the first X-Men movie that kind of started the recent boom of the superhero movies? Well, think of it this way then. This was my X-Men. This is the movie that sparked my interest in the comic book genre. Without this movie, I wouldn't have the collection of DVDs you saw in the comic book collection video. So it's all thanks to this movie, and that's one of the reasons why I love this movie so much. Not to mention the cast. The cast is great. It's a great cast. Like I said, Tobey Maguire is the definitive Peter Parker Spider-Man. And I know people are saying, well, he's too whiny, he's too geeky, he doesn't do much science stuff. He has a hard time trouble talking to girls. Okay, people, being the too geeky, having a hard time trouble getting girls. That's Peter Parker. Okay? That's Peter Parker. They got the character right in this movie, in my opinion, based on the stuff I've heard about other people talk about. But yeah, this character is spot on from what I heard. And also, another complaint these movies that this trilogy gets is that he's not joking enough. He doesn't do many sarcastic quips. Okay, there's a problem. I can see your point. I can see your arguments. But here's the thing is, this version of Peter Parker only does it when the situation calls for it. Not just because it's in the comics. He does it because the situation calls for it. But yes, overall, basically the plot of this movie is, it's the origin story. We see him being bit by a spider accidentally, not because it's in his father's notes. Spit on the Amazing movie. And so he develops these powers, and due to having the guilt of his uncle's death on his hands, he basically wants to alleviate himself of the guilt by becoming Spider-Man and trying to help people in ways that he's able to. Now, like I said, love the cast, love this movie. It's a great story. Do I have any problems with it? Basically, the villain doesn't really have much of a motivation outside of trying to prevent his company from going under by killing all his board members, which he kind of does in one fell swoop. But for the rest of the movie, he doesn't really have a clear motivation besides trying to get Spider-Man to join him. But for what? But aside from that, it's a great movie. I highly enjoy this film. I can watch this movie and not be bored of it at all. So yeah, this is the 2-disc set. There's 2-disc set right there. You got Spider-Man disc 1, and then disc 2 you got Green Goblin. So yeah, it's a great movie. Next, I'll be watching Spider-Man 2, and then giving my review on that. See you guys later. Hey guys, Sean here with my review of Spider-Man 2. So, Spider-Man 2 is the 2004 sequel to the 2002 movie Spider-Man. Was directed by Sam Raimi, written by Alvin Sargent from a story by Alfred Gough, Miles Millar, and Michael Chabon. It's the second film in the Spider-Man trilogy based on the character of Spider-Man, with Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and James Franco reprising their roles respectively. Set 2 years after the first movie, the film focuses on Peter Parker struggling to manage his personal life within his duties as Spider-Man, while Dr. Otto Octavius becomes a diabolical after a failed experiment and his wife's death. His experiment, he uses mechanical tentacles to threaten and endanger the lives of New York City citizens in Spider-Man. Spider-Man must stop him from annihilating the city. Okay. The film was released in June 30, 2004, with a runtime of 127 minutes, which translates to 2 hours and 7 minutes. Although there's an extended cut with an extra 10 minutes in it, which I don't really remember ever seeing, to be honest. The budget was $200 million and made $783.8 million. And the music was done by Danny Elfman with additional music by Christopher Young, who would eventually take over composer duties on the third movie. So let me give you some background history on this wonderful movie. Immediately after finishing the first Spider-Man movie, Sam Raimi, with the help of James Kelly, I think his name is, James K, I'll just say that, Let's see, with the help of James K. in directing surged him to direct a sequel. In April 2000, Sony hired Alfred Goff and Miles Millar to write a script with Doc Ock, Lizard, and Black Cat as villains. Etc. 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 The film was originally entitled Amazing Spider-Man, which ironically became the title of the reboot. After comics character, the film was given a budget of $2 million. The following month, David Koepp was added to co-write the script with Goff and Millard, and then Michael Chabon was hired to rewrite the script in September 2000, etc. 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 And then eventually, for some reason, Alvin Sargent was granted sole writing. Same with David Koepp on the first movie, even though all Sargent did was basically a polish on the script. Raimi has stated that the story was partially inspired by Superman 2, which also explored the titular character giving up his responsibilities. The story mainly takes from the Amazing Spider-Man number 50, Spider-Man No More, and it was decided that Doc Ock would be kept as the villains, as he was both visually interesting, who was and sympathetic figure. So let's see. Now, I actually like this movie. I think it's a great film. You have some good action. You got good action scenes. You got the great characters coming back. Let's see. Now, I really like in the last movie, like this movie here. I really like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what the haters say. Because he's likable. He's heroic. He doesn't do the jokes all the fucking time. He does them when it's necessary, and he's actually accurate to the comics. Now, I did read online apparently that Doc Ock was supposed to be in the first movie, but Raimi felt adding a third origin story would complicate the storyline. So they removed Doc Ock from the script of the first movie, and I guess Raimi always wanted Doc Ock as a villain, saved him for the second movie. Which I thought was really clever, because it's like what Steven Spielberg did with Indiana Jones. Because in the first Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, they were supposed to have the river rafting scene and the minecart chase, but since the script for Raiders was too packed with stunts and gags and whatnot, super packed script, they moved the minecart chase and the river rafting scene into Temple of Doom. So Raimi did the same thing here, which I thought was really clever. So basically the plot of this movie is, like I said, 2 years after the first movie, Spider-Man is up against Otto Octavius, who becomes Doc Ock, and because Spidey's trying to balance his normal life and the Spidey life, his Spider-Man powers start, dying out, I guess you could say, which they don't really give much of a reason for that, other than he's trying to live both lives, and he can't really do that other than that. And then you have MJ getting engaged to another guy who just so happens to be J. Jonah Jameson's son. And then you have Harry dealing with being obsessed with finding Spider-Man, and eventually finding that Peter is Spider-Man, which sets up the next movie. So yeah, there's some great action in this movie. The characters are really they're developed. They're interesting great characters. I honestly felt bad for Peter in this movie because he's trying to balance both his Spider-Man life and his normal life. But I really felt bad for him trying to balance both parts of his life. So yeah, and the suit is actually changed a bit from the first movie, which it's not bad because they do keep it the same design essentially. So I really like the suit. Just like the first movie, I love this film. Would I say it's probably better than the first? Okay, I'll say this. This is a more well-made movie than the first. Okay? Yeah, this is a more well-made movie, but, I I think the reason why I prefer the first movie is because it's the movie that got me into the comic book genre series. Like I said, basically, like I said in the last when I talked about the first movie, it was basically my X-Men, basically. You know, but this is still an awesome movie. I think the story for this one is a lot better than the first. The characters are more interesting. The villain is better. He actually has a kind of motivation for change. Not that Green Goblin didn't in the last one. It's just after he accomplished his goal, they didn't really do much with him. And speaking of, Willem Dafoe does make a cameo in this movie, which I thought was really cool. Again, to set up the next movie. So yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this. I love this movie. You know, just like I love this one. I can't really choose which one I like better, you know what I mean? Because they're both awesome movies. But if I had to pick, like if I had a gun to my head and somebody said, pick which Spidey movie you like better between 1 and 2, I'd have to say this one because of what it did for me. Because it got me to be a comic book fan. So, as much as I love Spider-Man 2, I like the first one more just because of the nostalgia, I guess. Now, don't take it as me saying I hate this movie, because I don't. I love this movie. I think it's a great Spider-Man movie. Just like the first one. But I like the first one more because of it pushed me into the comic book genre, you know? But I still love this. I still like this movie, and someday I will watch the extended version. I haven't watched it yet. Hopefully it's good. So I will now tackle Spider-Man 3. Hopefully it's good, despite the problems it has. So I'm gonna be watching Spider-Man 3, and I'll catch you then. Bye bye. Now time for my review of Spider-Man 3. So Spider-Man 3 is a 2007 superhero movie under the direction of Sam Raimi. It is basically the third and final installment in the trilogy. And it was written by Sam Raimi, Ivan Raimi, and Alvin Sargent. Stars Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, Thomas Hayden Church, Topher Grace, Bryce Dallas Howard, Rosemary Harris, J.K. Simmons, James Cromwell, and Cliff Robertson in his final film performance. The film is set at least about a year after the second movie. Peter Parker has become a cultural phenomenon of Spider-Man, while Mary Jane Watson continues her Broadway career. Harry Osborn seeks vengeance for his father's death, and escaped Foot Marco falls into particle accelerator and is transformed into a shape-shifting sand manipulator. An extraterrestrial symbiote crashes into Earth, bombs with Peter, influences behavior for the worst. Okie dokie then. So, like I said, this film is directed by Sam Raimi, written by both Sam Raimi and his brother Ivan, as well as Alvin Sargent. The score is done by Christopher Young, who I said in the last part, who I said in my Spider-Man 2 video, section of the video, that he took over for Danny Elfman. The movie is about 2 hours and 19 minutes. It was $250 million budget, making $890.9 million at the box office, becoming the most successful of the trilogy, and probably I think the highest grossing of 2007. I think. I don't know. Basically the development for this movie was that after the second movie, Marvel had begun developing in Spider-Man 3 for a 2007 release. By the release of Spider-Man 2, a release date of Spider-Man 3 had been set for May 2nd, before the sequel had begun production. It was later changed to May 4. In January 2005, Sony completed a 7-figure deal with screenwriter Alvin Sargent, who penned Spider-Man 2, to work on Spider-Man 3 with an option for a fourth movie. Basically, a lot of stuff was put into the script, and there was so much jam-packed into the screenplay that Alvin Sargent wanted to make this originally into 2 movies, but the studio was like, there's not enough, you don't have a good enough climax for the end of the part 1, and so they forced Raimi and Sargent Raimi and Sargent just shove everything into one movie. Because originally, Raimi's plan was to have Harry be the main antagonist, with Sandman as the secondary antagonist, and I think also have in the Vulture, I think, who's supposed to be played by Ben Kingsley. I don't remember that one. I know at least Harry and Sandman were supposed to be Venom, or supposed to be the villains. But for some reason, you know, Alvin Sargent and Sony, or not Alvin Sargent, but Avi Arad and Sony were like, no. We're the ones that are financing this movie, so you're gonna do what we want, despite how successful the first two were made. Fans want to see Venom, so shove him into the movie for no reason. Fans want to see Captain Stacy and Gwen Stacy, so put them into the script for no reason. We want you to get rid of this whole Harry being conflicted, or whether to be Goblin or not. Get rid of that and make him Goblin for no reason. But yeah, they made Raimi shove all these unnecessary plot points into the film, which, like I said just a second ago, Sargent had to write a script around all these unneeded plot points. So, like I said, he tried to make it into a two-film arc, like what Superman 1 and 2 were supposed to be. Again, I'm making the Superman reference, just like I did with this. And then, you know, it's supposed to have a cliffhanger connecting them, but, you know, studio was like, no, you don't have a good enough climax for part 1, so just shove it all into one movie. And so that's what happened, and that's how we got the movie we have now. This overcluttered, convoluted mess. So, yeah, as problematic as this movie is, I still really enjoy it for what it is. To me, it's still a fun movie despite the problematic stuff. Like, there's too many characters. You know, you could have cut Gwen Stacy and Captain Stacy and Eddie Brock right out of the movie, and we would have not missed a damn thing. Also, Raimi wanted to make Sandman the true killer of Uncle Ben. Something to do with Peter's grief over the death, add to Peter's grief over the death, I guess. Which, even I will admit, is kind of stupid, making Sandman the killer. Because in the first movie, Peter became Spider-Man because of guilt. So, by making Sandman the killer, you are basically making Peter's reason for Spider-Man being null and void. Basically. So, and then it's a fun trivia for you guys. For those of you who are fans of the show, That 70s Show, the reason why Eric went away during the end of Season 7 to go teach in Africa was because so Topher Grace could film this movie. Yeah. Thought I'd put that in for you guys. So yeah. The returning cast, they're still good. They're still good in their roles. Let's see. I like Thomas Hayden Church as a Sandman, even apart from the whole retconning Uncle Ben's death thing. Thomas Hayden Church still plays a good Sandman. Topher Grace, didn't really care for him as Eddie Brock. He was completely pointless in this movie. Same with Gwen Stacy, and she's basically a complete airhead in this movie. Captain Stacy only had like 3 scenes in the movie. 4 if you count Harry's funeral at the end, and yeah, Harry dies in this movie, spoilers. And I like how they did it, I just didn't like that they did it. What I'm saying is, basically what they do is and spoilers if you've never seen the movie, in the end of the movie, Venom tries to kill Peter with Harry's glider, but what Harry does is he steps in front and takes the, lack of a better phrase, takes the bullet for Peter, lack of a better phrase. And I liked how they did it, because they were trying to bring the Goblin legacy full circle. Because in the first movie, Norman was trying to kill Peter with his glider, but yeah, he gets killed himself. And in this, it's Harry trying to protect Peter from being killed with his glider. So I like how they did it. I just wish it could have been done better, or not done at all, let Harry live. But, hey, what are you going to do? Some people say that on the bridge, the scene with the bridge where MJ is breaking up with Peter, that she should have just said, hey, Harry's over there, you know, he's got the memory back, go kick his ass. And yeah, I actually agree with that one. I hate to say it, but I actually agree with that. It's because it's like, you know he's Spider-Man. He does all this stuff on a daily basis. So it's not that hard to go tell Peter, hey, Harry has his memory back. He's over there. Go kick his ass. Not that hard. I mean, yeah, I agree with all the problems that people have made about this movie. But you know what? I still enjoy the movie for what it is. I think it's a fun film. Is it as good as the first two movies? Fuck no. But still fun for regardless. You know? Even with all the little problems that people have made about this movie, it's still a fun film. To me it is. I think so. So, yeah, that is my review of the Spider-Man trilogy. The same Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Hope you guys had fun watching this video, and I will catch you guys later for the Amazing Spider-Man series.